The first Christian building raised on the spot was a martyrium. It housed relics of martyrs from Thrace who perished for the triumph of faith during the persecutions of Christians in the Roman Empire in the late 3rd to early 4th century. Probably the sarcophagi with martyrs' relics were arranged in a naos, and the surrounding corridors north and south of it received the pilgrims and gifts. The second stage of construction occurred about the late 5th to early 6th century, where the building was reconstructed to become a seat of veneration and services. For the requirements of the ritual, the eastern niche was replaced by an altar apse drawn out to the east. The altar niches were added to it sometime later. Sectors of the initial foundations have been preserved. The church was abandoned and probably destroyed in part during the Bulgarian and Byzantine Wars. About the late 10th to early 11th century, which this is considered as the third building stage, the church was opened again as a parish church with necropolis. After the re-establishment of the Byzantine authority in the region in the early 13th century, it was abandoned once again at the time of the Crusades. The Red Church also had a baptistery. The baptistery is a room in the church serving for performance of the sacrament of baptism. It appeared within the church plans after the 4th century as the number of newly Christian men increased. In the Red Church, it was constructed during the second stage of its history, which occurred in the 5th to 6th century. There is a pool, also called a piscina, in its center faced with marble. The initial murals, which we can see in the higher sectors of the walls surviving in the northern central part of the church, are dating from the 6th century. The wall paintings in the central sector covered the walls and arches from 2 meters height on, above the marble facing. They had a narrative nature arranged over panels matching the architectural space. The vault of the northern conch and the northern passage displayed scenes from the life of Moses. The scene of the prophet Daniel in the pit with lions was depicted on the middle arch. Events and images from the New Testament associated with Jesus Christ were arranged in 3 registers in the northern conch: the Adoration of the Magi, Theotokos enthroned with Jesus infant and Joseph, Herod and infants, John the Baptist, and Elizabeth and Zacharias. The chapel of the Red Church was raised during the second building stage of the church history, again occurring in the late 5th to early 6th century. In the course of a gradual reconstruction matching the canonical decrees for performing services, the central space was vacated and the chapel sheltered the martyrs' relics.